I think it's about time for OKC to make some seriously huge changes. This just can't go on anymore. Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee, and we gotta talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder plus several other things in the NBA. Like, we got a lot to talk about today, so let's get into it. But first, I do have to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, athleticcases.com. Basketball, baseball, football, or soccer, you guys can now rock your favorite player on the back of your phone. Use promo code ZachLee for 10% off your order. Links are in the description box below. Russell Westbrook scored 46 points, and the Oklahoma City Thunder still get eliminated from the playoffs by the Utah Jazz. 46 points on 43 shot attempts, and was 1 of 8 from the field in the closing minutes. Paul George in his final game wearing a Thunder jersey, because let's be real, he ain't coming back. Why would he come back? So in his last game, he scores 5 points on 2 of 16 shooting from the field. Carmelo Anthony, 7 points, 3 of 7 shooting, but no one was really expecting anything Carmelo Anthony at this point anymore, so it's irrelevant. I mean, there is so much that I want to and have to say about this team right here. First off, I'm not gonna fault Russell Westbrook for his performance yesterday. I'm not going to bash on him for the way he played. He scored 46 points, but do not let that fool you. The guy was not playing well at all. If you take 40 plus shots, you had better at least score 40 plus points. He was just trying to get the job done by himself because, you know, Paul George is struggling and Carmelo Anthony is non-existent. So he tried to do it all alone. Billy Donovan though, Billy, where were you? What exactly were you doing in the game yesterday? Were you coaching? Is that what you would call coaching? You just sat there and pretty much let this happen. You sat on the sidelines and allowed the Thunder to play the way they did. You sat on the sidelines and allowed the Thunder to play the way they've been playing all season long, where it was nothing but hero ball from Paul George and Russell Westbrook, even though Paul George couldn't get his shots to fall. You let Russell Westbrook shoot the ball 43 times. You didn't try and run any type of offensive schemes to get other guys involved. Steven Adams, he was 9 of 11 from the field, 18 points, 16 rebounds. If you ask me, he was the best player for the OKC Thunder yesterday, but he wasn't getting plays run for him, even though he was being effective when he actually did get the ball. When Paul George was having trouble scoring, you weren't trying to run plays to get him easy looks at the rim to hopefully get him on track. You just kept letting him ISO and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. Man had more turnovers than he had points yesterday. This was just all around terrible. Some of the worst coaching that I have ever seen from Billy Donovan. And I've seen some terrible coaching, especially from Billy Donovan, but this right here takes the cake. And there is no possible way that he should be back next year. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten notified that Billy Donovan has been fired already. As for this Thunder team as a whole, Paul George is leaving, and you're stuck with Carmelo Anthony because he's not turning down that $28 million player option that he has. And as for trade assets, outside of guys like Steven Adams and of course Russell Westbrook, the ones you have are slim to none. You're not going to bring in any big free agents, and Russell Westbrook isn't getting any younger. I don't know if anyone else is going to come out and say this, but let's be real here. Russell Westbrook isn't exactly the type of player who will age gracefully in the NBA. This is a guy who relies heavily, almost exclusively, on his explosiveness and his athleticism. He doesn't have anything else to fall back on once those two attributes start to fade away. And we all know the older you get in the NBA, the first two things to fade away are your explosiveness and your athleticism. Russell Westbrook isn't going to be the type of point guard like Chris Paul, who can still be one of the best guards in the league in his mid-30s. That's just not the type of player Russell Westbrook is. Meaning at 29 years old, will be ready to turn 30 by the time next season rolls around. He's not going to be able to keep playing at the pace he's playing at right now for too much longer. Overall, let me just stop beating around the bush here and say what I gotta say. The Oklahoma City Thunder should Blake Griffin Russell Westbrook. They should trade Russell Westbrook. Hear me out. Right now, Russell Westbrook is at his peak value. He still has a couple of years left, I'd imagine, where he can play at the level that he's been playing at. And he's under contract for 5 more years since he just signed a contract extension this season. And I know a lot of Thunder fans don't want to hear this, but trading Russell Westbrook is your best option at this point. Wouldn't you rather trade him now and get a great return for him, the most return you'll ever get for Russell Westbrook, and start building a team that might actually be able to accomplish something in the future? Or would you rather just keep Russell Westbrook, a player that the Thunder have already tried to win with a couple of times and have already failed with a couple of times. Oh yes, you can keep him, watch him average these triple doubles, go chase these crazy stats while he starts to lose some of that explosiveness, some of the athleticism, and all of his value over the next couple of years. This is the exact same situation the Clippers were faced with when it came to Blake Griffin. They could have kept him and kept making the playoffs for the next couple of years, but eventually he would start to age. The entire team would start to age, and when that happened, they'd slowly be fading out into nothing but irrelevance. So they decided to trade him while he still had some value, rather than wait a little longer where his value is going to be quickly depreciating each year they do not trade him. So OKC fans, even if you love Russell Westbrook, you have to realize the situation that you are in. You are not going to win with Russell Westbrook. You're out of time to try and build a team to win around Russell Westbrook. You've tried a couple of times and they failed a couple of times. They don't have any more time to try and win with Russell Westbrook. He's not going to be the same player by the time they're ready to win with Russell Westbrook. The best thing for the organization is to trade him right now. Get some young pieces or some draft picks plus some cap relief, because right now you only have two options. You can either get ahead in the rebuilding process by trading Russell Westbrook and getting some extra assets while you're at it, or you can ride this out. You can watch their team slowly fade away into nothingness with Russell Westbrook over the next 5 years, and then start the rebuilding process with fewer assets because you didn't trade Russell Westbrook and you won't be relevant for like the next 8 to 10 years. That being said, shout out to Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz for playing one heck of a series, especially Donovan Mitchell. The Cleveland Cavaliers are in serious trouble here. For 2 games, Victor Oladipo has been phenomenal in this series. Game 1 and then of course last night. And if I'm going to be honest, I'm more impressed with Victor Oladipo last night than I was with him in game 1. It's not because he put up a triple double, but because he had been struggling for the past 4 games. But now with his team facing elimination, he snapped himself out of whatever was holding him back real quick and dominated this game. And that right there just shows you that he is a big time player. Other guys who were struggling in as recent as these playoffs, like that we're seeing right now, with their team facing elimination, they have been struggling. And what happened in the elimination game? They kept struggling and their team lost. The team got swept. Depot wasn't going down like that. The Pacers as a whole weren't going down like that. Guys were stepping up. Even Darren Collison, who hadn't done anything the entire series offensively, stepped up to make plays. This Indiana Pacers team has heart. There's no question about that. And like I said, the Cleveland Cavaliers are in some serious trouble. Once again, Victor Oladipo has had only 2 games in this series where he's played great, where he's played phenomenal. Game 1 and game 6. One was in Cleveland and the other one was in Indiana. And what was the result of both the games in which Victor Oladipo played like an all-star? The Cavs got blown out in both of the games that Victor Oladipo played like an all-star. That's what the results were. And as for the other games when Oladipo was far below average, the Pacers managed to win one of those games, and they were right up in the game. One call going their way, or one shot not falling for the Cleveland Cavaliers, or falling for the Indiana Pacers away from winning all of those games. And that was despite LeBron James playing amazingly in each of those games, scoring 40 plus twice in those games. Do you guys see what I am getting at here? Kind of the point I've been trying to make since game 3. LeBron James is a great player, and he's the reason the Cavs are as good as they are. Without him, the Cavs are getting a top 10, maybe even a top 5 pick in the lottery. The Cavs are good with LeBron James, but the Pacers are better. That's just what it is. The only reason they maybe even won a single game in this series is because Victor Oladipo, for some reason, just was not getting it done. And if you watch the games at all, you'd see exactly what I was talking about. The proof is right there. All you gotta do is watch it. Any one of those games that the Indiana Pacers lost, if Victor Oladipo even plays averagely or just slightly below average and not 5 of 15, 2 of 16 from the field shooting, the Indiana Pacers win those games. That's in each and every last single one of the games that they lost. Whereas for Cleveland, let's talk about what it's going to take for the Cleveland Cavaliers to win game 7. LeBron James probably going to have another game where he goes off for 40 plus points, but that still might not be enough. You're going to need some production from Kevin Love on the offensive end. You're going to need J.R. Smith to hit his shots. You're going to need Kyle Korver to hit his shots. You're going to need Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson to hit some shots. They're going to need a lot of things to go in their favor to win game 7. Whereas the Pacers, all they need is for Victor Oladipo just not to be trash. He doesn't have to be phenomenal. He doesn't have to have a game like game 1 or 6. He just needs to be average. And the Pacers will more than likely win game 7. And that's why I say the Cleveland Cavaliers are in serious trouble here, because the odds of Victor Oladipo being average in game 7 in my mind are much higher than the odds of some of the players of the Cleveland Cavaliers actually producing some offense. It took a game longer than I thought it would, or maybe it should, but the Raptors finally did it. They have moved on to the second round by defeating the Washington Wizards in Game 6 in Washington. They actually won on the road, and that's a great sign. And now they're also going to have the edge in the next round, since they can kind of just sit back and relax a little for the Cavs-Pacers series to end. And it's like a good way too. Not too long to the point where they'll get rusty, but just enough for them to catch their wind a bit and be fresh for the next round. For Toronto though, this is what we have been seeing from them all year. It makes me happy that they are playing the same way in the playoffs as they were playing in the regular season. DeRozan and Lowry aren't having monster games every night. Lowry was great last night with his 24 points, but they weren't carrying the team every game during the regular season either. Guys like Jonas Valanciunas have their nights to carry. Ibaka contributes big sometimes. Other than that, they just still have the best bench in the league. Pascal Siakam was terrific yesterday. The energy he was playing, the hustle on the defensive end while also converting his times on offense, he was huge. I mean, with other guys playing so well, it takes so much pressure off DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry to carry the Toronto Raptors, which is good stuff. And whether it be Cleveland or Indiana that they play in the second round, it's gonna be a close series. But I do kind of want to see what an Indy versus Toronto series would look like. I think that would be a lot of fun to watch. But that does it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA videos. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow. But until then, keep getting the buckets, Team STC, and I'm out of here. Peace!